Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our today's module is about English grammar, and we have to learn about tenses, right? Let me define first of all what is a tense. Tense is the time that is described by a verb and shown by its grammatical form. The word tense is taken from Latin language and the Latin word tempus, which means time. This is any form of verb that may be used to show the time of the action or state, right? Time and aspects are components of tense. Time refers to the past, the present, or the future. An aspect shows whether the action is continuing or has completed, or something happens again and again or never. So in the light of this definition, we can deduct few simple ideas about tense. That first of all, the tense shows time of action, right? If we take time, all of us know that time has three universal divisions: present, past, and future. And if we talk about action, right, action is shown grammatically through a word class that is called verb, that simply means the doing word. All doing words in language, they form the category of verbs, right? If the meaning of tense or the grammatical sense of the tense is that it shows time of action, so we can say simply that tenses reflect the three basic divisions of time: present, past, or future, in form of different aspects, which are uh, various. Sometimes they show the simple present tense, sometimes progressive tense, sometimes uh, perfect tense, and sometimes present perfect progressive tense. Why it is so? Why these different aspects? They are a connected element of the tense, because human actions, they take place in all these four different forms. Here we can discuss something else that is related to it, and that will make your concept of tenses more clear. We find few sentences, right, which don't have present form, right? Present form of verb, but they are included in present tense, like would that I were a king. In this first sentence, would and were, these are past verbs, right? But the sense is in present. Next is the party starts at 9 tomorrow. The verb starts is a present verb, but still it conveys the meaning or the sense of future, right? Next is if you worked hard, you would pass, right? Again, two verbs are used, worked and would, that belong to the category of past tenses, but still this sentence conveys the sense of present. So we need to clarify our concept that some sentences, they use the present form of verb, that is why they are included in present tenses. But even sometimes some sentences, they use different forms of verb, not the present forms, and apart from this they are included in present tenses. Let me explain this concept more about present tense. Present tense shows the things or the happenings that are true when the words are spoken or written, I mean at that moment. And what is a past tense? Things or happenings that were true before the words were spoken or written, right? Uh, about future tense, there's a controversy among the linguists. Some linguists, they generally say that English does not have a future tense. In English, however, the future tense is often shown by adding will before the verb. For example, be becomes will be. Okay, what is aspect of tense? Right? As we have explained, the tense explains the happening with the help of forms of verb, right? These verb forms, they are uh, total 5 in number. Let me explain that with these different forms, the element of aspect is connected. There are different kinds of tense, right? Tenses within each main tense. For example, in present tense, we have 4 different categories of tenses or kinds of tenses. Like present tense contains present simple, present progressive, present perfect, and present perfect progressive. These 4 are true about other tenses. In the same way, we have past simple, past progressive, past perfect, and past progressive perfect. Same is the case. Or these 4 aspects of tense are always found in the main category of the tense. So main categories are 3: present, past, and future, and aspects are 4, which I have just described. In English, these are formed by adding helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. This is the one way of making aspects, such as be and have. Let me explain what do we understand by be. Be verbs are those which include is, am, are, and was and were. These are 5 verbs. These are called be verbs. And have. Like this is the one way of forming aspects. Aspects are also formed by changing the form of the verb, right? For example, I give. This is present simple. I have given, present perfect. I am giving, present progressive or continuous. And I have been giving, present perfect, progressive or continuous. All these are in the main category of present tense but have different meanings. This is called aspects. Now let's see that the present simple tense is when you use a verb to tell about things that happen continually in the present, like every day, every week, or every month. We use the simple present tense for anything that happens often or is factual. Now let's have a look at this analysis of the present simple tense on the right side of the slide. The definition says that present simple tense contains habitual action, number 1, the fact, number 2, then the general truth, number 3, and daily activities, number 4. So all these actions, right, all these different kinds of action, they are included, they are shown by simple present tense. And now let's define it more clear to have a clear idea of the tense. Present simple or indefinite tense. We use the simple present for something that happens repeatedly, right? Number 2, facts and generalizations. Number 3, future meaning, timetables, programs. And number 4, even for past events, especially when we talk about past events dramatically, and it is called the historic past or historical past. Okay, now let's see how we need to understand the structure or the pattern of present tense. Here are few examples, right? He goes to school every morning. She understands English. It mixes the sand and the water. He tries very hard. And last is, she enjoys playing the piano. How these sentences are made, right? One thing is clear that all these sentences, they have subject and verb. Some of them, they have subject, verb, and object as well, but some they don't have. So let's see the pattern on or the structure on which these sentences are formed. The general structure of English sentence is subject, verb, object, that we call SVO, right? And every English sentence can have three different forms: positive, negative, and interrogative. So the pattern for each type of sentence is a bit different from the previous one. For example, positive sentence is formed like this. First comes subject, then first form of verb with the addition of S or ES, then plus object. So this is SVO, but the subject, after the subject, we have to use either S form of verb or with some of the subjects, and with some of the subjects we do not use S form. With which we use S form, here it is made clear. Look at this pattern. Does is the example of S form of verb, right? And the subjects are she, he, and it. If the subjects are third person singulars, we will use S form of the verb, right? In simple sentence, does not in negative sentence, and again does in the beginning of a sentence in case of interrogative sentence. And when we will use do, when the subject is I, you, we, or they, right? So there are two categories of subjects, and one is she, he, and it. The other is I, you, we, and they, or any other plural subject, with which we will use first form of the verb, not the S form of the verb in simple sentence, and do not in negative sentence, and do again at the beginning of a sentence in an interrogative sentence. Now let's see that on which sentence the formula of SVO it fits. Here, she subject, understands verb, and English object. So here is our SVO structure, and the pattern is this. It is a positive sentence or affirmative sentence. First comes what? Subject, she. Understand is the verb, first form, but as it is third person singular, so we use S, right? Here, verb form will take S. If we say she understand English, it is wrong, right? We need to use understands, S form of the verb, and then English is the object. Now let's look at the pattern of the positive sentence. Here it is. First of all is the subject, S, that is she. Then the formula says put first form of verb, V1 mean, V verb, and 1 mean first. First form of the verb, that is understand. But if the category is of third person singular, we need to add S or ES. So we have placed here with understand the letter S to make it understands. And then comes the object, right? English. So she understands English. This was the formula or pattern or structure of a simple affirmative sentence. If we have a negative sentence, what we are going to do? First, we will place subject. The formula says that. So here is it, she again, she, right? And then the formula demands that we should add do not or does not. For the use of do not and does not, we have to make a choice, and this choice depends on what? On the category of the subject. Either it belongs to the first category or the second category. Second category says that if the subject is he, she, it, or any singular subject, mean either the third person singular or any other subject, we will use does not, not do not, right? So we will say she does not. Fine. Then the formula says uh, use first form of verb, V1, right? V1 means first form of verb, and that's why we will use she does not understand. It can never be she does not understands. We have already explained or we have already used S form of the word with does. So it cannot be doubled. It can never be she does not understands. Now understand will become only understand, the first form of verb without S, and then will come object English. So negative sentence would be she does not understand English. Sorry, she does not understand English, and uh, the pattern would be subject plus does not plus first form of verb plus object. Now let's change the same sentence into the third category, that is the negative sentence of present simple tense. How we are going to deal with it? First, we have to place the helping verb does in the beginning to make a question, right? That is a general rule that whenever we are going to make a question or interrogation, what do we need to do? We have to place helping verb in the beginning. So first comes does. Then the formula says put S means subject. Does she? Then formula says we should use first form of verb, that is understand. Does she understand? And at the end comes object, that is English. So does she understand English? I hope you might have got the concept how these patterns or these formulas, they have made the whole structure of three different types of sentences so simple, so clear when we use them in simple present tense or indefinite tense. Okay. Now, once again, we will move back towards definition. Our definition of present tense. It pointed out four different types of action, right? Habitual action or habits. The factual actions, facts, or general truths, or daily activities. So all these types of action are included in simple present tense. They are shown in this tense. Let me explain them one by one. For habits, he drinks tea at breakfast. It is his habit. So we use S form with the subject he drinks tea. Right? Subject, verb, object. At breakfast is adverb of time, right? And again, she only eats fish. She is the subject, eats S form of verb and fish, right? Object. They watch television regularly. Here we are not using the S form of verb because the subject is changed. It belongs to the second category. The first category. I, you, we, they. And in this category, with the subject, we use first form of verb. They watch television regularly. Have you noticed that all these sentences are conveying the habits of different people? So habits are always expressed through present simple tense or indefinite tense. Okay. Next is for repeated actions or events. This tense is used. For example, we catch the bus every morning. It is a routine or habit or what should we say, repetition of the action or the events. It rains every afternoon in the hot season. So this is again a repeated event which is expressed in present simple tense. And they drive to Monaco every summer. Again, it's a routine or repeated action. So present simple tense covers all such actions. And look at the verbs we use with all of them. Here subject is we. and we have used first form catch, and here the subject belongs to the same category, they. So we have used drive, not drives. When we will use S form with he, she, and it. Here is the sentence. It rains every afternoon in the hot season. So it takes the verb rains. S form is used with it. Okay. You will constantly keep in mind the two categories of subjects. First one is this, I, we, you, they, and any plural subject like boys, like students, like teachers. And second is he, she, it, or any singular subject like doctor, like anybody's name, David, Ali, etc. So in case of these two different categories, we use different type of verb form and different type of helping verbs like do and does. Okay. Next is for general truths. Water freezes at 0 degree. This is a general truth, and verb freezes is used because water belongs to the second category, it. The earth revolves around the sun, right? Again, it's a singular subject and S form is used, revolves. Her mother is Peruvian, right? Sorry, I could not read it. Okay, this is Peruvian. So this sentence is again can be included in the state sentences of simple present tense. Next use or next type of actions which are included in present simple tense, they are instructions or directions. For example, open the packet and pour the contents into hot water. The word open is the present form and pour is the present form, right? So present tense or present simple tense is used here for the sake of giving instructions. The second example is you take the number 6 bus to Watney and then the number 10 to Bedford. So this is a sort of direction, right? Used to lead someone to somewhere. It is also given in present tense. You take. With you, we use first form of verb. You take the bus, and so on. Okay. Next category of actions which are included in present simple or indefinite tense. These are the fixed arrangements. His mother arrives tomorrow. Our holiday starts on the 26th March. His mother arrives. The S form of verb is used here, which is always used in present simple tense or indefinite tense. And then the next use of present simple tense is future constructions like she will see you before she leaves. She will see. This part is in future tense, but in the second part, before she leaves, we have used S form of verb that shows that it is a present, simple or indefinite tense. We will give it to her when she arrives, right? We will give. This part shows the future sense, but in the second part of the sentence, we have used when she arrives. So here we can also use the present simple tense. Okay. Now let's discuss the structure of present simple tense. To conclude the whole thing which we have been discussing so far, we have come to the conclusion that two types of structures are used in present simple tense. Structure 1 says that if the subject is he, she, or it, right? Or any other singular, it can be pronoun or noun. The train, David, Ali, so forth. So and so on. And so what would be the pattern or the formula? First, he, she, it, or any singular subject plus first form of verb like jump or go, right? Then plus first form of verb can have s or es. Like in jump, we will use s, jumps. He jumps, she jumps, it jumps. And with go, we will use es. He goes, she goes, it goes. And then we can use either object or any adverb like very quickly, adverb of manner. Let me stop here and explain one thing. I want to remind you that the structure of any English sentence is subject, verb, object, right? What does subject mean? In very, very simple words, we can say that subject is the doer of action, the one who does the action. He jumps very quickly. Jumping is the action which is shown by verb, and who is doing this? He. So he is the doer of action, and in grammar we call him it subject. So he, she, it, or any singular noun pronoun can be the subject, and they perform the action described in the sentence. Then comes verb. After explaining S, that is subject, I have come to explain V, that is verb. Verb has different forms, and these are 5 in number. In most of the grammars, especially in Pakistani grammars, it is taught to the students that there are 3 forms of verbs, like first form, second form, and third form, like go, went, and gone. But uh, in fact, uh, the good English grammars tell us that they are not 3 in number. The verb forms can range from 1 to 5 in number. For example, first form is the present form, go. Second form is the S form, goes. Third form is the past form, that is went. And fourth form is the participle form, that is gone. And last one is the ing form, that is going. So all verbs, they take these 5 different forms. So what do we mean by verb? 5 different forms of verbs, right? Chosen according to or dependent on their subject. For example, if we have subjects he, she, it, the second category, we will use jumps and goes. But if we have I, we, you, they, or any plural subject like students, like girls, what we are going to do, we will use first form of the verb, not the S form of the verb. So a good knowledge of all these forms of verb is necessary. Okay, so at the end comes O, that is object. That can also be any noun. She plays football. Football is the object. He goes to the theater. Theater is the object. Object simply can be described the receiver of action, on which the action is done, which receives the action. So if subject in very simple words is the doer of action, verb is the action itself, and object is the receiver of action. And the structure of present simple tense are 2. Structure 1, that is subject plus first form or S form of verb plus object plus adverb, like very quickly. Okay. Structure 2, what does it say? Subjects of the other kinds, like or any plural subjects, and other kinds also include I, we, you, they as well. Then comes verb in simple present form. It is only with he, she, and it that we use s or es. With other types of subject, we only use simple present form, that is the first form. For example, I, we, you, they, or the plural subject, the voice, they take first form of verb like go, right? I go, we go, you go, they go, or the boys go, or jump very quickly, right? Then comes the first form of verb, and after that we can use object. If we don't need any object, we will switch towards adverb very quickly, adverb of manner. Okay, now let's see what is structure. With the first and the second person, in the present tense, the verb is used without s or es, while in case of third person singulars, we use the verb with s or es. Okay, so this was all about the structure. Here we have to make this thing more clear, and I would repeat that with the third person singular, the verb in the present tense is used with s or es, and with the third person plural like they, the verb in the present tense is used without s or es. So three categories of personal pronouns: first person, second person, and third person, right? All these are explained clearly that what type of structure they would be following. Uh, and let me tell you once again that the subjects are mostly, they are divided into two major categories. First category contains third person singulars, and second contains third person, first person, singular plural, second person, singular plural, and third person, plural. Okay, now let's have a look at these examples. Ali buys fruit in the morning. What is Ali? Subject. As it belongs to the category of third person singular, it is he, right? We can assume that it is he. So we will use S form of verb. Ali buys fruit is the object. So here the basic structure is complete. S, Ali, V buys fruit object. In the morning is the adverb of time. Next sentence is she likes flowers. She, again, it's a third person singular subject which will take S form, likes, and flowers object. So SVO is complete. She likes flower. They do their work on time. Right. They is the third person plural subject, and with which we use first form of verb, not does. We can never say they does their work. They do their work. Their work is object, on time is adverb of time. Next sentence is those students play cricket daily. These two words, those students. These are subject, right? Door of action, and with which we use first form of verb, that is play, not plays. So it turns out that with a third person plural, we can never use S form of verb, we will use first form of verb. Subject is those students, verb is play, cricket is the object, and daily is adverb of time. All of these are simple or affirmative or positive sentences. Now let's move towards the negative sentences. In negative sentences in the present tense, do not is used with the first, second, and third person plural. And A and B means third person plural, or and you second person, I and B are the first person, right? I do not meet them. I do not meet them. I is the subject. Do not is the helping verb which we use with them. And meet is the first form of verb. With do not, remember that we will never use uh, any other form, just the first form. I do not meet them. I subject. Do not the helping verb. And then meet is what? First form of verb. Them is object. Okay, now let's see the next sentence. We do not read these books. We is the subject. It's first person, plural. Do not is the helping verb. Read, first form of verb. These books is the object. So in all these examples, we have seen that one formula is being followed, one pattern is being followed, that is SVO, subject, verb, object. Sometimes we don't use any object, and sometimes we add adverb. Okay. In negative sentences, in the present tense, does not is used with the third person singular, and the verb used is without s or es. Means we use only first form of verb because we have already used s or es in does. Fine. Okay. So here we are. Kaleem does not play football. In the case of positive sentence, look at the first example. Ali buys fruit in the morning. It is a positive sentence, affirmative sentence. So the buys S form is used. But here, Kaleem does not play football. Play is used and not instead of plays. S form is not used. Why? Because we have used S form in does. Right? Do is the first form and it's does. S form is does. Kaleem does not play football. Those students do not study here. Unluckily, most of our leaders do not know how to rule well. Right? So these are different sentences of present indefinite tense which lead us to a very good understanding of the structure of the rules of the forms of verb which we can exploit or use in present simple or present indefinite tense. Okay, so it was all about today's lecture. In our next lecture, we will continue, we will use the same concepts and we will repeat them when we will start learning translation. Okay, goodbye.